Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Allison and today I am finally getting back to my weekly update, my reading update videos. So if you did or did not notice, last week I completely missed doing a reading update video. I had a really weird weekend and that's normally when I film. I think I've said it before that my kids are gone Friday through Saturday. Like, they go to my mom's house and they spend the night and they stay there until usually sometime on Saturday afternoon. So I have like most of the day on Friday and then like half of the day on Saturday to do all of the filming and stuff that I need to get done before they come home. And last week there was a wedding that, not that I was attending, but I had to do some of the girls' hair for the wedding because they have curly hair like me and literally nobody wanted to do their hair, so that left me doing it, which was okay. And then my mom was helping with the wedding, so the boys had to come home earlier than they normally do, which meant that Allison did not get her filming done like she was supposed to. So I missed last week, but we're gonna do like a two-fer today, so I'm going to do what I would have talked about last week and what I'm going to talk about this week. So the first thing, I'm obviously going to start off with the books that I read, and you're getting 2 weeks worth of books from me, which usually is not a lot, but this week I have 3 books to talk about, so that's pretty cool. Normally it's like 1, or like I started this book and then I just didn't finish it. So today I have 3 books. I'm going to start with the oldest book. So the last reading update I did, I think I was only talking about Dune because I think that was the only book I had read. But after I finished Dune, I picked up These Violent Delights by Chloe Gong because I have the Fairy Loot edition, and Fairy Loot just released that they were going to do a special edition for the sequel, and I was like, well, I kind of need to read this so that if I like it, then I can grab the second book. And it was okay. I enjoyed reading it, but then afterwards I did some, not really research, but I was just reading some things about the author, and I was like, I don't know how I feel about this book. I will just preface by saying that this author is someone from the Generation Z, or whatever the heck that is called these days. So she is a lot younger than I am, and she also said that she is feminist, which is 100% fine. I am not a feminist, but I don't really care if other people are feminist. I'm not one. So So for one, she's really young. She's a lot younger than I am. This is a YA novel, and she's a feminist. And those are all things that I am kind of like, are not really my thing lately. Like, feminist themes in books, unless they're done really well, are not my thing, especially in YA, because basically all you have in YA is a setting or a plot that the author sets up specifically to be oppressive for the female characters. And that's exactly what this book was. It was set in 1920s Shanghai, China, and there's like gangs and stuff, which there was actually quite a lot about this book that was historically accurate, which I did appreciate that a lot. And but like, it's just like any other YA novel with a female main character that's been written in the past, I don't know, 2 to 5 years. They're in this setting where women are looked down on, just like this like overt oppression towards the female, part of society, and I'm just like over it. I'm just super over it. Like, someone needs to write me a female character who's in a world where all people are equal, and she's pushing back not against culture or society norms, but pushing back against things that are actually bad. Like, they're fighting for someone's rights, they're doing they're fighting for their own rights or whatever. Like, I need something like that. And thankfully, after I finished this book, I picked up a book that had exactly that going for it, which was absolutely fantastic. I will talk about that one in a minute. But I originally rated this book 4 stars. It was like a really low 4 stars, and then the more I thought about it, the more I was like, you know, it's a great story. It held my interest. I really, really liked, you know, the plot and stuff. It was a little bit gross and a little bit creepy at points, and I was just like, I don't know if that's really my thing. Was not something I was really expecting to find in a historical fiction fantasy novel, but it's there. But after reading it, the more I thought about it, I was like, I don't know, this book wasn't 4 stars really, because to me a 4-star book is a book that I immensely enjoyed, and I think about it afterwards, but in a positive way, not a negative way. And every time I thought about this book, I was just like, I don't know, it was alright. I mean, it wasn't great, it wasn't amazing, I didn't absolutely love it, I didn't like want to immediately go and buy all of the like artwork for it. Like, I just didn't feel compelled really. But it was enjoyable. It wasn't awful. I just, after reading it, I was like, I don't know, I've read way better books than this before, so I mean, it was good. I'm gonna read the sequel because it left off on like a cliffhanger kind of thing, and I was like, well, I hate it when they do that. I'm glad it's a duology, so I am going to read the next book. Let's see, what else is in here? Oh, I forgot to say, this is a Romeo and Juliet retelling, which I really, really liked that part of it. I don't have like a lot of, like, I've never studied Shakespeare, but I have I've been exposed to the story of Romeo and Juliet and retellings of it like throughout my life, so I'm pretty familiar with it. It was also something I think I had to study in high school, so there's like that part of it. Like, I did some studying on it, and so I really liked that aspect of this. What else did I like? I did not like the main character at all. I thought she was annoying as heck. And I liked the love interest in the romance. He's pretty great. I can't wait to see some more from him in the next book, hopefully. So yeah, I don't know. It was an okay book. I didn't love it, I didn't hate it, it was just kind of average. It was a book that I needed to read, so that's basically all I want to say about this one. Now, the next book I read, I really, 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 really liked it, and this book, I don't know, it was just really good. I really liked it. I really, really did. Okay, so the next book I read was A Time of Dread by John Gwynne, and this is my first experience with a John Gwynne novel, and I absolutely freaking loved it. It was so good. So good. So I really don't want to get like spoilery or anything. I gave this book 4 stars. It might have been 4.5 stars. I can't exactly remember, and I don't have my planner out here to look it up either, so it was in between 4 and 4.5 stars. I really, really enjoyed it. It was super, super good. So basically, the gist of this one is it's set in like, I don't know, the author's like really big into like Viking culture, so it's set in like that kind of a type of fantasy world. And there is a good side and an evil side. I'm not really sure who's bad and who's good, or if there even is a good and a bad and they're not just, you know, people who make mistakes. So there's, on the one side of the war that's going on in this book, you have most humans and an angel type species, and there's also giants, and I think that was it. Pretty sure that was it, but I could be wrong. Like, there's just all sorts of really cool like mythological creatures in this book, and it's really nice. And then on the other side you have some humans and some giants and these things that are like demon type creatures, but I'm really not sure if the angels or the demons are good or bad. I'm not sure yet. This is the first book in a 3-book trilogy, and I don't know who's at the end of this book. I'm like, well, dang it, now I don't know who the good guys and who the bad guys are. I guess I'm gonna have to read the next one to figure it out. So this book follows quite a few characters. There is 1, 2, 3, 4 points of view in this book, and I enjoyed all of them. I really liked all of them. The character ages range from like teens, like 15, 16 to like really old, because apparently in this book giants are kind of immortal. Like they just, not like super immortal, like they're never gonna die, but they just live a really long time. Like one of the points of view in this book was of a giant, and she was like 700 years old or something like that, and I'm like, whoa, what? So the longevity of life in this book is different for each species and whatnot, but I just really liked this book a lot. I loved the characters. The whole thing was like action-packed from like the beginning to the end, and I was just like, all I wanted to do was sit down and read it. And I kind of, maybe my house got a little bit messy while I was reading this book, because I was like, I just need to know what the heck happens. And the ending was traumatic, and it made me sad. And then, I don't know, there was just so many, like, there was like a really sad part at the end, and then it just like different characters' point of view came up, and I was just like, oh, so wait, what? And then it was just insane, and I was like, immediately I got online and I purchased the next 2 books for this trilogy, because I was like, I need to own all of these so I can read them. So I am definitely going to be adding book number 2 for this trilogy onto my June TBR. I can't believe I'm talking about June TBRs already, but here we are. I don't know, this was just so good. I have, like, almost every single person I have seen or heard review a John Gwynne book, they're always like, I loved it, it was so good, it was so action-packed, and I can just agree with them, because it was really good, and it was action-packed, and the characters are super compelling, and the world is amazing, and just there's so many cool things that happen in this book. I don't even know how to explain it. There is a map, which is like the most important part of any fantasy book. I'm pretty sure you can't be an actual fantasy writer if you don't also include a map in your book. So this is the map for A Time of Dread. It's pretty cool. And I don't know, I just love everything about this. For adult fantasy, I have a really hard time with adult fantasy because I feel like most of it is disgusting. I just can't. I don't understand what it is about adult fantasy that authors think they just need to be like as nasty as possible. Like I don't understand why that has to be a thing. And that could just be like battle scenes. I really do not need to read about a battle scene where just icky things happen, and I don't know, that sounds really bad. When I say it like that, people are gonna be like, well, why do you read fantasy if you don't want to read about battle scenes? And I'm like, I don't really need a really like detailed description of what happens to someone's body when they get cut across the abdomen by an axe. Just like a 3-letter sentence, and that's it. Like we can just move on. And I'm mostly talking about like the grimdark side of fantasy, adult fantasy. I'm really not a fan. It's just disgusting. The sex scenes are nasty. The battle scenes are disgusting. You can't even have someone take a pee and be like a normal human. Like they gotta be disgusting about it. I don't understand. I don't comprehend that kind of writing style. It's not my thing. I don't want to read anything that is like that. That's just yucky. If I wanted to see that, I could just watch Game of Thrones, and I don't want to watch that either. So there you go. There you go. So yeah, that's like my rant about how I feel about grimdark fantasy and the adult fantasy genre. Not a fan. I don't want to read any of that stuff. It's just icky. The book that I read this week is The Hunter and the Mage by Caitlin Davis. And this was a buddy read. I buddy read this with my friend Brianna, and I just really enjoyed this book as well. It was so good. Okay, so this one is a young adult fantasy. It is self-published, and I freaking loved it. It was so good. It is the second novel in the Raven and the Dove series. and I really enjoyed it. You still have your 4 main characters that you had in the first novel. You have a princess, a bastard son, a prince, and then a like a best friend who is also kind of like a secret spy. And then you have another character that doesn't really have a point of view, but he's an important character in the story. So the spy best friend and the prince both had amazing character development in this book. By the end of the book, I was just like, oh, my poor babies. They go through so much in here, and it's really, really sad. And let's see. So the plot, I felt like the plot was decently like, I don't know. It wasn't super fast paced, but it wasn't like super draggy, at least not for me anyways. But it really, really picked up in like the last 100-ish pages. I think I read those like the fastest I've read any book since I finished Crescent City a year ago. So actually it's been over a year. I read the end of that book way too fast. I don't even know if I remember everything that happened in it. But so by the time I got to like the last, I don't know, quarter of this book, I was just like ripping through the pages because I just had to find out what the heck was going to happen. There were like super huge plot twists. Just some of it I had guessed. I was like, because when you read books, you think about it, and I'm like, this just doesn't make any sense. Like, why do these characters believe this? And then the more I thought about it, I was like, oh, I see where this is going. I see where this is going. So it was kind of predictable, but not like in a bad way, as in like, ugh, I saw that coming 8 million miles away. Like, I didn't even really start guessing it until it got closer to like past the halfway point of the book, and then I was like, oh, I wonder if. And then it ended up being what I predicted, ended up being true, and I was like, yes, score for Allison. And I don't know, I really, really like this one. See, I'm so weird about YA, like These Violent Delights. I was like, nah, this is kind of lame. And then this book, I'm like, yes, I loved it. It was so good. So I really I can't tell you what it is about YA that is so hit and miss for me lately. I really can't tell you. Maybe it's just because I really don't like novels that have forced feminist representation in them, and I really appreciate novels that have female characters who are considered equal in the world that it's set in, and the force that they're fighting against is not social norms, but it's like they're fighting for people they love, or they're fighting for themselves, or they're fighting for anything other than, well, I have to prove that I am just as capable and just as cool and just as strong as guys are. Like, please don't do that. Please don't. I cannot stand that in YA anything, and it happens quite often. I forgot when I was talking about A Time of Dread, I forgot to say that was also an aspect of that book, is that the female characters are freaking, they're just really, really cool. I really cannot, I don't want to swear on my channel, just because I have small children, and I hate it when I'm trying to watch a video and the first thing out of the person's mouth is like an F-bomb, and my kid is standing right next to me, and I'm like, I can't, I'm like, nah, that's not okay. Like, so I try to be really conscious about swearing. I wasn't gonna say a super bad word. I was just gonna say BA word, but I didn't. So I wanted to, but I'm not gonna do it because I know what it's like to be a mom and have some stupid person on YouTube dropping all sorts of stupid swear words, and your kids are right next to you, and I'm like, well, I guess I'm not gonna follow that person anymore because they cannot talk intelligently without swearing. Anyways, that was another little rant. I'm full of rants today. So what was I saying? Oh, yes, in A Time of Dread, the female characters in that book, there are two there's 2 male and 2 female points of view in that book. The one I already said was a giant, and then the other one is a human, and they are pretty freaking sweet. Like, they're not the like culture in that book is you know, everyone's an equal. You just have to prove or earn your place in whatever thing it is you want to do. Everyone's welcome, but you have to put in the work to be part of it. Like, you're not just gonna be included because you're a female or excluded because you're a female. Like, that is not a definition of like social standing in that world, which I really, really appreciate, because it allows women to not have to live up to these stupid cultural, like, well, the feminists say that, you know, blah blah blah, and then these poor girls think they need to live up to that standard when maybe they want to be a delicate female. Maybe they want Prince Charming to rescue them. Maybe they don't want to have to take care of themselves. I understand that there are like tons of women that like they don't need anyone's help. They can do life all by themselves, and that is awesome. That's great. I'm not one of those people. So when I read a book where the female is just like, I don't even know, I can't even say it without like being vulgar about it, like, you know, having a measuring contest with all the dudes around her, drives me freaking insane. Like, that is not okay. You do not have to prove that you are just as cool as the guys to be accepted and valued. I don't understand. I don't get it. I just don't. I hate that in YA fantasy. This book thankfully did not have any of that. Neither did A Time of Dread, which I really appreciated. I really need to stop talking about that topic because people are probably gonna start leaving nasty comments, but I really don't care. I really don't. So that is the last book I read this week. Yeah, I just finished this one. I just finished The Hunter and the Mage a couple days ago, and immediately, and probably it was a bad decision, I picked up my next book, and that is The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. And I started this book. I got 42 pages into it. It's really, really good. I love the writing style. I really like the main character already. And once again, another novel where girls just, okay, so like, and the main character in this book is a girl, and she is an orphan. Like, this is like the things you learn in like the first 3 pages, so I'm like not spoiling anything. She's an orphan. She lives with her aunt and her uncle, and it is set in like a China type country. It is fantasy. It has like a Chinese type feel to it, and the author actually studies modern Chinese history, so I think she pulls a lot from that. And so basically what happens in the first few pages of the book is this girl, her aunt and her uncle are like not very good people, obviously, and they're like set her up to marry a guy that's like twice her age, and I'm like, I don't know how I feel about that. Like, that's like the bad stuff. Like, that's the stuff you actually need to fight against, and she does. She ends up fighting against it, and she gets what she wants, but it's, I don't know, it's done in a way that doesn't feel pushy. Like, it feels like, well, duh, of course she would do that. Why would she want to marry this guy that's, you know, this many years older than her, and he's like really old and nasty? Like, why would she want to be forced into that? So, and then she's like, well, these are my options. I can either marry this guy and just accept it, or I can do this. And she like logically makes the decision to do the other thing. It didn't feel like forced feminism. I don't even know if that even makes sense, but it didn't feel forced to me. I was like, well, duh, why would she not do that? Other than like other books, but we're gonna be done talking about that. So this is an adult fantasy novel. It is, let's see, how long is this book? It's 527 pages long. I want to finish it this weekend. I don't know if I'm going to. It's Friday right now, so if I finished it, I probably would not do anything else, which is not gonna happen because I have literally like a million things to do. I feel like the weekends are so busy around here, but I would like to finish this before next week starts, and that's probably not going to happen. I could try really hard, but I might get close before the weekend is over. And then if I do, I will be, if I do finish it, I'm gonna read, where'd my book go? I think it's over here. if I do finish the Poppy War before it gets too far into the week next week, I will be picking up The Girl in the Stars by Mark Lawrence. I really don't know anything about this book either, other than I know I need to read it, so I'm looking forward to reading this one as well. It was like a bonus book on my TBR, and I've been actually reading books this month instead of doing whatever else I was doing before, you know, not reading. So I might actually get to this one. I would be really pleased if I did, because it would be my one of the last few books that I bought in 2020, so I would have no more unread books from 2020, and all of my unread books would be from 2021, which would be really exciting, because every time I buy a book, I'm like, I just want to sit down and start reading this right now, because that's kind of why I bought it, because I want to read it, and I don't like waiting too long. So that is the goal for the coming week. I did have a couple of things I wanted to talk about, favorite things, this being one of them. So this cup has a code on it to a fandom that I'm not a part of, but it came in a fairy loot box, and I was like, oh, I love these kinds of cups, so I just kept it even though I am not in the fandom. It's for that, what was it called? The Cruel Prince series or something like that by Holly Black. I don't remember. But anyways, the important thing is what's inside of it. My favorite thing this week has been iced coffee, and I finally figured out how to do cold brew coffee. It's the best. It's so good. So now I just, in the afternoons, instead of having hot coffee, I just have iced coffee. It's super delicious. I really, really like it. So the next thing that I have that is one of my top things this week is on Spotify. So Spotify is a music streaming service. You can listen to it for free, but I just have the paid subscription because I hate the ads. They're really, really annoying. And usually not child appropriate, which is completely ridiculous, but it is what it is. So my favorite thing lately on there has been this playlist. It's a Night Rain. It's 14 hours and 11 minutes long, and I play it at night, and my husband and I sleep like babies when it's on. It's like rain mixed with thunderstorms, and it's like the perfect, like, it's the best. If I forget to turn it on, like, we both sleep like crap. We have become so dependent on it. It's completely stupid. It's completely ridiculous. That is the next top thing. What's my other top thing this week? I actually think it's the coffee that I made my cold brew with. But I emptied the bag, and I don't have the bag, so I can't show you the bag anymore. I don't remember what it's called. I do have a favorite moment, but it's actually from the previous week when I was actually supposed to film this video. So my favorite moment from last week was purchasing a trampoline for our kids. We have been wanting to get them a trampoline for like a couple of years. It's been a really long time. We're like, oh, we should get them a trampoline. They would love it so much. And I was like, yeah, and I would also keep them outside longer. But we finally got them one, and my favorite thing was just like seeing their faces, and because we made it a surprise. Like, they were not home when we put it together, and just watching them jump on it they're so cute. They're just like, just imagine an 8-year-old and a 4-year-old jumping on the trampoline, and you can kind of get what I'm going at. They're just super cute. They're so cute. Okay, I will say that I put the trampoline together with my husband because it's like a 2-person job, and it would have taken me all day to put it together by myself, and we didn't fight one time. We are way past that point in our relationship. So, oh, that's what it is. Okay, so my other favorite thing is another thing on my phone, and it's an app, and it's the best. Okay, this is the app. It's called GIF Keyboard, or GIF Keyboard, however you want to say it. And basically it's like in your, if you have an iPhone, this is how it works. So it's on here in this like bar thing that's right here, and you can just search it, and there's like all sorts of hilarious GIFs, and my husband and I are always Or at least I am always sending him gifts instead of like words, because that's like the mature adult thing that I need to do right now. It's really funny because you could just be like, it's like emojis but better, because there's like facial expressions and stuff in the gifts, and I really like it. It's been a lot of fun. I'm always sending him stuff on there and he's like, really? Really? And I'm like, yep, yes. So I think that's it for favorite things of the week, favorite moments. My favorite moment this week was when my kids left this morning. They went with their grandma and they're gone for a little while. That was my favorite moment for this week, because this week's been crazy. I'm gonna stop talking because my battery is running low on my camera, and that's just like a bad thing. So I'm gonna stop talking. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I am sorry, kind of, not really, that it got a little bit ranty, but I just feel like more of those kinds of conversations need to happen, because I don't think it's okay to just go with what current culture tells you that you need to do. I mean, they're all about preaching like go your own way, find yourself, but then they're all like, but you kind of have to like you have to go with what we say, and I just don't think that's okay. So I am probably like a minority opinion on that aspect of things, and that's fine. I really don't care. I'll be a minority for the rest of my life. I honestly could not care less if other people disagree with me, because you're welcome to disagree with me, and that's completely fine. Just don't leave rude comments, because that's not mature, and I don't have time for that. So anyways, I'm gonna stop talking. I hope you guys all have a lovely week. I will see you in another one of these reading update videos. Until the next one, guys, bye.